What is up, beautiful beings? Happy day. Let's take some full belly, deep breaths, as always. I intend for only love to reside in this space that I'm creating through this video. Welcome, welcome. Talking about the current transits for today and what's going on in the sky. If you're feeling a purge this week, there's a reason for it. Oh, it's funny that I just got a notification for myself starting a live video. If you see me looking at something, it's I have the current sky chart pulled up, referring to it, to talk about what's going on in the sky. So I was just staring at this, and I like to stare at the chart, and you can do this if you're learning to interpret your own birth chart, like just looking at it, because it's a geometrical, what did I just try to say? It's a sacred geometry shape that your birth chart is. It's a mandala. So if you just stare at it, some things will like be downloaded to you, even if you like your logical mind can't understand like what these shapes and symbols and like lines mean. I swear, if you just look at it and like ask to be given information, things will just come to you. And so that's what I'm doing while I'm looking at this right now. And what stood out to me today was that Chiron is directly opposite Vesta. Vesta is an asteroid. It's technically not a planet, neither is Chiron. They're both asteroids, but they're both very important in like knowing what's going on with them, because Chiron is the wounded healer. It is like where we have wounding to be healed. And the transit of Chiron right now is in the sign of Aries, and I think it'll be there for the next 3 or 4 years. It's a pretty slow moving asteroid. And Chiron in Aries is really calling for us to heal our power, heal our drive. You know, all things Aries archetype energy. Aries is cardinal fire, so it initiates action. It initiates cardinal fire, action, passion, drive. And that's really like what we're healing right now as a collective. And also the transits will give you a more well-rounded picture and view of what's going on in the collective right now. Not necessarily, you can apply this to your own chart, but what is needed for you to be able to do that is to know about the houses and to know what each house means, which I'll be doing a video on. I'll be posting it on my YouTube channel soon, so look out for that in the next few days. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, go subscribe, link in bio. Be posting videos a lot more frequently on there, because that's where I feel called to show up right now. I had been forcing myself to show up on Instagram and show up on Clubhouse and show up on YouTube and show up on Facebook and show up on whatever, TikTok, and I was just like, no, I can't. I'm gonna pick like 1 or 2 and stick to them. So those are the places I'm showing up most these days, is YouTube and Instagram, because that's where I feel called to. I just love video, and it's a passion of mine, so here we are, here I am. So yes, I got off on a tangent there, but you can apply the current transits to your birth chart by knowing the houses, because what's transiting a house for you is what is going to be, how that's going to be impacting that specific transit is going to be impacting that house, which houses relate to the areas of your life. So that's how you will know like what the transit means for you specifically based on your chart, which is the houses are calculated based on your rising sign. So it is important to know, crucial rather, to know your exact time of birth so that you have an accurate interpretation of the house system for you as an individual. So that's kind of how you can apply the current transits to your own chart. But for the generality of this video and for everyone watching, because you all have like unique charts that are, I couldn't possibly give you one interpretation for all of your charts. So I'm doing a general transit overview for the collective. So the collective energy of Chiron being transiting Aries right now, of Chiron transiting Aries, is again, healing our drive, healing our action, healing where we take initiative towards our drive and our purpose, and where we're really leading from the front, where we're choosing to be a leader and not a follower. We're really starting to see where we need to awaken to be in our own inner guru, our own, and awakening to our own inner guidance system, which astrology gives you insight into. Really awakening and coming home to our soul. We've been so conditioned to believe these certain things and to be a certain way from everyone around us and from society as a whole and from a culture, whatever culture you're a part of. You've been conditioned to be that certain way, and none of us are meant to be like that. We're all meant to be our own unique individuals and really follow our own internal guidance system, which is the roadmap of your soul, which is your astrology, which your birth chart can give you insight into who you are and really what you're here to do, what path you're here to follow, and remove the conditioning from your life and really follow what's truest for you on a soul level. Your astrological birth chart is the roadmap of your soul. And so with Chiron transiting in Aries right now, it's also in retrograde. So we are kind of like taking this internally, like what actions do we need to be taking internally in order to come home to ourselves, in order to awaken to our truest self, our highest nature, our soul, and the energy of our soul and what our soul really came here to do. Because our bodies, our human form is so subject to conditioning from outside sources, because for so long we evolved by needing to fit in, by needing to be a part of a tribe. Otherwise, if we were alone, we would have died. Like lone wolves die when they're out in the wild on their own, and that's how we evolved as human beings. And so that's like what we're kind of awakening to, is how we've been subject so strongly and so like at this like core level almost, it feels like, to our conditioning and to conditioning from outside sources that don't necessarily resonate with our soul. And this is where illness, this is where disease, dis-ease in the body comes from, is from not following your soul and your soul's and your personal internal guidance system, which is your soul. Your astrology gives you insight into this part of you that is here to do something bigger than what you're just conditioned to think you need to be doing, and be a part of some rat race that's not helping anyone by going and working, in a box in a cubicle with the same thousands of people doing that. Who are you really benefiting? Who are you really helping? So it's time for us to awaken to our soul and the callings that our soul has for us, and step into our individuality as we're moving into the age of Aquarius. This is what we're realizing as a collective we need to be doing, is following our own internal guidance system, awakening to our uniqueness, our design, the own calling we each have of our soul, and following that path, following that dharma, unless we want to repeat it again, which none of us here, if you're really truly awakening, you don't want to do. That's not what your soul came here to do. It's not to repeat the same shit over and over and over. Your soul came here to live differently and to awaken and to follow the path in the mission that you came here to play out. And that's what looking into your astrology and knowing what's going on for you can help you do. And with Chiron and Aries, that's really what we're starting to do as a collective, is to awaken to the inner warrior within us, and to realize, like, oh shit, like, actually, yeah, being a follower isn't beneficial to me, and it isn't beneficial to the collective, because if everyone was just walking around doing the same shit, life would be so boring. Like, and I have Chiron and Virgo in my chart natally, so it's like I have a tendency to do this, to think of perfection and to think like, oh, things have to look this certain way and they have to be perfect. And it's like, no, there is no such thing as perfect. Everything is imperfect, and that's perfect. Like all these plants outside of my window right now, like they might have defects, that none of them look the same, but they're all meant to be as they are. And that's how we are as human beings. We're all meant to be as we are and show up in that light. And that's what Chiron and Aries is coming to teach us, especially as it's going retrograde right now. We're taking that lesson internally and really asking ourselves, there's like a hair, probably a cat hair in my mouth. Okay, back to, oh wait, no. That was distracting me. Is how we're really awakening to our ability to be a leader and to take charge, be a warrior, Aries energy of our own life and of our own healing journey. The Chiron is the healing journey. And so how can you be a leader? How can you be a warrior? How can you be an initiator of the action you need to take within your own life to heal what needs to be healed, to be who you are at a soul level and really awaken to your soul and the callings of your soul that you came here to fulfill. That's why your soul incarnated. You know, we can look at the nodes to give insight into reasons why your soul incarnated and why you're really here and what you're here to grow into. And that's like a whole other video that I won't get on today. But that is like your soul came here for a specific purpose, and your birth chart, your mandala, your astrology mandala gives you insight into what that is. And so you can also take these current transits to your chart and see like what area of life, what house this is in for you, what area of life this is showing up for you right now. For me specifically, I have this transiting my 7th house. So this is showing up for me really strongly in all of my relationships. I just ended a collaboration that I had spent a lot of energy and time on for the past few months. It just didn't feel aligned for me anymore, and so I was like, I want to go my separate ways. I ended the collaboration. There's a little bit of a shitstorm, kind of like Chiron and Aries at its like shadow side of being very tumultuous, being very aggressive, being very like confrontation in a not healthy way. And so this is how it's showing up for me right now, because again, this is transiting my 7th house, and this is showing up in my relationships. The 7th house relates to the other and our relationships, our immediate relationships with other people, and also collaborations and business collaborations and things of that nature. So that's how this transit is showing up for me. And it will depend on what your rising is and how this is showing up for you, depending on what house this is in for you. But I got off on a huge tangent there, so hopefully someone is watching that needed to hear that today. But where I was going with this is that Chiron is opposing Vesta right now, and Vesta is the asteroid. This also just gives you more clarity of everything I just said, because Vesta is the asteroid of the hearth. It is like the fire within us. It's like our if you've ever heard this, like the heart is the seat of your soul, and the Vesta gives you insight into the seat of your soul and into the fire within your heart, and Vesta in astrology represents that, and it's directly opposing Chiron right now. So they're really calling for us to come into harmony and come into balance with the calling of our soul, which is our heart, and use what we've gone through, what we've healed in ourselves to awaken to that inner truth that we all have. And I feel like I'm not even going to need to pull cards but because I just went on like so many tangents about what's going on. But yeah, let me know how that resonates with you. I'm curious. Thank you, Chaz, for the love. I appreciate it. That card came out again. I'm going to get some new cards. Let's pull one card, please, for the energy of today and the energy of this Chiron opposing Vesta transit that I just spoke to me today so strongly. Oh, we're going to take this card. It's so funny because I posted this card on my stories yesterday. Faith. Faith is needed right now more than ever, to come home to our truth, to come home to, again, the calling of our soul and our heart, the inner flame within. You can talk to your heart. This is called heart intelligence or heart mapping. If you tap on your heart 3 times and say, heart, open the inner spark flame. No, life spark flame, the life spark flame. So 1, 2, 3, heart, open the life spark flame, and you can just feel like this energy coming up from your soul through your heart, like into your body, like warming your whole vessel. Like I feel it now because I just did it, and it's like, ah! That is your soul. That is your soul talking to you, and that is where the seat of your soul lives, is in your heart space. And there's so much intelligence held there that we can tap into at any moment, and all it requires is faith and belief in yourself, and that you have everything you need. Like the medicine, the animal medicine in this card, it honestly reminds me of where I am right now, because I've been seeing sea turtles everywhere, and I feel like she's holding a lotus flower. Is that a lotus flower? Someone confirm. I'm a Libra rising. I need confirmation from other people. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's a lotus flower. It doesn't even matter what it is. But like, ooh, how can we awaken to like this inner truth that we all have within us, and just keep that faith strong and alive, no matter, this is what I talked about yesterday on my live, no matter what's going on outside in the external of what we see in our minds, what we see with our eyes, and what our brain wants to perceive based on what we see with our eyes isn't always true. And so tapping into the subtle energetics behind what we see on the surface is what's needed right now, to come home to our faith, to come home to the inner knowing within us. This I at the top here and it's no synchronicity that, or it is a synchronicity, no coincidence, that it's in a heart. And how can you see from your heart space? We're in Leo season right now. The new moon in Leo is this weekend, really calling for us to look at and ask questions from our heart space, and to see and to lead from our heart space. Like, what feels true in your heart? And really tapping into that, breathing into that, tapping into that, releasing the mind, releasing the tendency to analyze, releasing the tendency to like want to think about things and want to like just intellectualize things, like releasing that as much as you possibly can, and coming home to the truth within your heart that is your soul, and this faith that we all have the ability to tap into within us, that has been lost through our conditioning and lost through people. Oh my god, I've never seen this card, but this card is like a vibe. The Seven of Fire. The Seven of Fire is all about standing in your truth. And again, this flower is showing up. No coincidence. How can you awaken the inner knowing that you have in your heart? I feel like I'm just repeating myself here. For some of you, this will be through animal medicine. There's a lot of animals in these cards. And really tapping into the animals you have access to in your surroundings and like what messages they have. We're getting messages all the time through nature, through animals, through, like I was saying, like looking at your mandala, your astrology mandala, and really asking what is here for me? What do you have to share with me? What information can I learn from this? What can I gather from this? What do you have to share with me? And really like waiting for that knowledge to come through, instead of trying to like matrix, analyze, brain, intellectualize, like what's going on. Oh my god, I gotta figure this out. Oh, blah, 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 the formula. Like, no. How can you tap into, again, the inner knowing that you have within you in your heart space that we all have access to? And like taking action, Chiron and Aries, wounding, healing the wounding that's in our mental space, and coming back to our bodies, healing the wounding that's in our bodies, that's keeping us that resistant to our inner knowing that we all have access to. Healing that and taking action from a new place, a more aligned place, a place that we consciously choose to take action from. That is what's needed at this time. And I feel like, don't dim your fire. Don't dim your light. Whatever that is, allow it to shine. You are here for a reason. You are here to follow your inner knowing for a reason. And giving more weight to the logical things or the intellectual things is doing yourself and humanity as a whole a disservice, and distracting you from the truth of the matter and what's real to you, which is your inner knowing of your soul that's been calling you to pursue this passion that you have, or start to write the book that you want to write. Like, do it. Take action towards it. That's what this time is calling you to do, especially as the moon transits into Leo this weekend. We need to be taking action from a heart-centered place, from our inner knowing, and leading from that place with courage and with bravery and with sovereignty, with our own power, and leading from that place of being in our power and taking action from that, and not giving it away to anything outside of you. Like, how can you come home to yourself? Vesta and Libra, how can you come home to the harmony within yourself, to really awaken to the mysteries and the callings of your soul that your heart has in store for you, when you really just get quiet and allow yourself to feel into it, and allow yourself to listen and hear it for what it is, and not try to intellectualize it or think it needs to be a certain way. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'll be doing more of these as I feel called to, as I'm a manifesting generator. Stuff has to light me up, or I won't do it. So yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know how it was in the comments. And if I didn't ask you to share one thing that you're grateful for in the beginning, I think I forgot. Go ahead and do that. And I love you, and we'll see you next time.